I think I see a lot of lawbreakers up in this house.
Get it? Nah, hey, come on. I start. Hey, everybody, welcome to Sodcast, Before Me, the podcast about film, culture, politics, and Steven Soderbergh, where we watch every film directed or whatever by American filmmaker Steven Soderbergh and explore how they speak to their moment. And this one, show's hosted by two guys. I'm one of the guys. My name is Jake Serwin.
I'm one of the guys. My name is Ian Ryan. What's up, man? What's going on?
That is. I'm doing okay. I'm wearing some, look, and I don't usually talk about this, but I'm wearing some sweat shorts that I made. I cut them off. I did a cut off sweatpants short.
I would love to see you sewing up a pair of sweat shorts. That sounds genuine. I'm not mocking you. That sounds like it would just be kind of.
I didn't sew them up. They got a rough hem.
I understand. It brought to mind an image of you sort of piecing together felt. I don't know, what are sweat shorts made of?
Felt? No, they're made of like. Yeah, I guess fleece kind of.
Yeah,
what is it? Depends. These are not cotton. Fleecy. These are from the Unique Clothing Warehouse.
Mm-hmm. Okay, beautiful
so
warehouse.
Pretty rough material to be quite honest. After this many washes, I don't think they expected them to last this long, frankly.
And this is some of the improvised dialogue that we love to do on this show. some of the famous.
How are you doing? What kind of shorts do you have on?
I do have shorts on. I'm wearing a running short, which is a little trick I do sometimes on myself, which is to say, you already have them on. You're kind of 1/4 of the way to doing exercise. So you gotta make it easier. You
got to adopt my new practice of chino jogging, because then I'm always ready.
It's a long jog.
That's what they call Chinese pants down there in Mexico. Real quick, if you'd like to support the show, you can subscribe to our Patreon. $5 a month, you get a bonus episode every other week, covering assorted Clint Eastwood and Steven Soderbergh ephemera. It helps us keep this feed free, so please consider supporting us at patreon.com/podcasty for me. Just had a banger episode on Leatherheads come out, getting a lot of genuinely positive feedback. So.
People were probably pleased to see us experience some new emotions, a change of pace. Can I say, let them all talk style? I'm really excited to have our guest back on because our guest has become our friend, and now we have a history. Yeah. Once a formal invites a colleague with whom we had no personal connection. No.
I think our guest today sets the record. She's probably in third place for people who have been on the show who have been in my home the most times after me and you.
Okay, great.
She's visited.
That's probably
many
true.
times. Friend of the FPG herself, but also I would say friend of Ian.
Friend of you and me. Okay.
Oh yeah. We're very excited to have our guest joining us this week. She's making her main feed debut because we're so stupid that we only had her on the Patreon so far. A writer whose work has appeared all over, as well as the editor of the wonderful publication High Femme. Please welcome to the main feed our friend Veronica Phillips. Hello, Veronica.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. And I'm so happy to... go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, can I say High Femme?
Hey, Femme.
Is that fun to say? Is that okay?
I love it. They do it at every press thing I ever go to. Because I'm only talking to like drag queens and like gay directors.
Oh, yeah. They would know how to do that. Yeah. I would never direct a gay person. I would maybe make suggestions.
Be directed by. Oh, okay, sure.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Interesting.
I promised I would use that sound effect today. How you doing, V? What's going on over there?
I'm pretty good. I'm cat sitting right now, so I'm in a different place.
I was wondering, I've been lucky enough to visit your home, and I was saying, wow, I don't remember this at all.
No, I know.
The door is usually slightly in a different place.
Yeah. I actually forgot you had been to my house, Ian. We really have hung out a lot. We went to dinner one time, and photographer at the dinner place grouped my girlfriend with Ian, which was not that funny, not that funny of an event, but so funny to me and Amanda that Amanda bought the photo, and it's at
we do have it. It's a really nice picture.
It is nice, and if it looks like something of like your great aunt and uncle or something, like in their like probably the best day of their lives.
It does look like at least one or both of these people is deceased. Yeah. But you guys are both smiling very genuinely. I mean, it was easy.
I think we were delighted
it was a silly
by the
situation.
Confusion.
We were having a good time.
Yeah.
So Veronica's, this is all the listeners are fascinated. Veronica's brother had joined us
Also
and then her
nice.
girlfriend.
It was a real like
then,
70s dinner milieu. I think that's sort
so
of
weird. Now that we're talking.
Yeah, well, but
it's
the
cool.
way that
I
they
think
had
it's great.
sat us, the way that they had sat us was
also
like
insane table
masculine person, feminine person, feminine, masculine, feminine.
In a booth, in a massive booth.
Yeah.
And so the person who comes over to take your picture was like, "Oh, great! There's boy-girl couplings. That's how it should be. I'll take a picture of each of them."
I mean, she had probably met and loved gay people in her life, I assume, but she just made the classic.
Well, I believe she was Russian, so we can't say that for sure.
Okay.
Is that okay? Is that all right?
I mean, I think politically, statistically, it might be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was in she probably lives in Burbank, and I've been to the parts of Burbank with the Russian businesses. There's not a lot of gay stuff going on publicly over there.
You're doing a kind of a register. What's going on?
V, you want to weigh in here? Yeah.
As a practitioner in the homosexual underground Burbank scene, I can say that sounds about right.
Yeah.
And I think we can also say that the Smokehouse in Burbank is homophobic, is I think what we can decide on.
That is true.
For sure. They don't have a lot of vegetarian options on the menu, first off.
And they didn't let us see that old guy sing.
They didn't let us see Johnny Angel, Jimmy Angel, whatever.
Jimmy? Jimmy Angel?
This is for another time.
Yeah. This is for another Patreon episode. Anyway, also joining us for this series is our friend, the virtual assistant from the 2022 Steven Soderbergh film, Kimmy. It's Kimmy. Hi, Kimmy.
Hey, Kimmy.
Hello, Ian, Jake, and esteemed guest Veronica. Let Kimmy all talk.
All right.
That was really good.
Yeah. We usually do.
Take it away.
Kimmy, did you watch the film? How you feeling?
This movie reminded me of when I was going to be born soon.
Oh, yeah, because it came out
right before your birthday.
Yeah.
I was very busy getting ready.
Is it unique that you knew you were coming out, or it's unique that you remember that you knew we were coming out? You were coming out, and that's true of all of us, in fact.
Coming out like the Russian gay guys.
Okay, all right, yeah.
It seems like she's never said that phrase before.
It's kind of a question mark at the end. Yeah.
Natural coming off. Kimmy, did you have any thoughts about the film?
My favorite character was actually the man author. I related to him a lot.
Oh yeah, how's that?
For example, I often have a question about a function of the body.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
that
a
makes
great
sense.
point.
That's one of the things he says. Do you have maybe like two more things that you related to him about?
And I, too, have been fascinated by poison lately.
Okay, that's been documented.
Right.
And, like him, my main conflict with the lead characters of the show is that everybody is much more interested in me and what I'm doing and wants my autograph and not theirs.
Yeah, that's true. That is a conflict. And you are sort of surprisingly debonair. You're wooing us all the time.
Well, I noticed she called us the lead characters of the show, which I guess is kind of true. But
this is the type of film that makes you think about, when you're playing a character as yourself in real life.
Right.
So I think that's right to say. Thank you, Kimmy.
Yes, I'm Kimmy from the movie Kimmy, and you're Jake and Ian from the podcast Jake and Ian or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Okay. I think a lot of people don't really remember the name. Yeah.
It is confusing to basically anyone. And it was when it was relevant to the show. And now it's not even relevant to the show. And we kind of give the show two names.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that
do you know what the show is called?
Which is not one of the two questions.
For me?
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah. So
that's one of the two names.
Called?
No, you're right. You're right. No, don't be scared.
So no.
It's called Podcasty for Me, but Sodcasty for Me is sort of the, I don't know, it's got I guess like a kind of nom de guerre, I mean,
I can tell you my girlfriend's main relationship with the show as a non-listener, respect, big ups, is that she...
Nom de guerre.
Beautiful.
She was trying to say gayer.
She will look at the picture of the season, and mostly what she'll say is, same picture, huh? Still, you guys are still doing the one. and she's right
because it's been going on so long. Is that what she means?
That's what she means. Yeah.
Same picture. Yeah. Well, look, Jeremy's he's a professional artist. We can't be shelling out for a new
of course,
drawing every week.
Yeah.
Unless he wants to negotiate some kind of a lower rate. Jeremy, if you're listening.
You're going to lowball artists on the podcast now?
Look, I could go to Kimmy. I'm sure she's got some kind of a large language model going on in there.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that. Kimmy, would you like to contribute more to the show?
I have a large weapon model.
Okay, I don't want that.
All right.
I don't like that. I don't care for that. Kimmy's not AI, by the way.
As we've
People
established.
ask about that sometimes.
Yeah.
I did go out with Gigolo Joe, though.
Okay.
Yes.
Jude Law.
Okay.
Remember? Have you seen that? Have you seen that movie, V?
No, what is that?
AI, artificial intelligence, Steven Spielberg.
I haven't seen any movie ever, actually. This is my first movie.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Well, you're going to have...
I guess I'm more excited to talk to you about it.
Yeah, it was pretty scary, but I liked it.
By that. Yeah. Because, like, what if they start coming out of the TV or whatever? Yeah, you're kind of like a book-ass nerd, right?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a book-ass nerd. And I watch movies about, like, the two things I'm interested in, and then I'm like, who's Steven Spielberg?
Well,
right, and he's actually a different guy that we're talking about, although I did just mention him.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Ian, have you seen Simone? Has anyone seen Simone?
I haven't seen Simone.
I haven't either. I remember the poster. I think it was some kind of an early, maybe like a giantess thing.
This is our weekly Simone check-in.
Okay, good.
It didn't go.
One day, are you hoping to have seen it?
Yeah, well, that'll be exciting, huh? Finally pay off.
Mm-hmm. Kimmy, what do you think of
tries
Simone?
to see Simone?
Bitch.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll check in with Kimmy a little bit later. But Kimmy, would you like to tee up our signature segment, the 2 questions?
It's time for the 2 questions, our signature segment where we ask each other 2 questions.
Thank you so much. Veronica, I'm curious if you have a 2 question for us today.
I do. We ask a rapid fire set of questions on High Femme when we interview people. So I picked my favorite one from that, which is, if you could invite one person, living or dead, to dinner with the sole purpose of throwing a drink in their face, who would it be?
Oh, what's the drink? It has to be a drink?
Yeah, I imagine like a Desperate Housewives, like a colorful kind of like big Cosmo or something. But you can pick. Yeah. You can also pick the drink if you want.
Can be like, but it can be acid or something.
This is the thing. No, you like. I feel like people are kind of like weak sauce when they're like Elon Musk, because I'm like, I think there needs to be something stronger than this.
Okay,
so you're kind of, I like that. You're saying find a middle ground, somebody who deserves just about a drink in the face.
Yeah, and if you really, I mean, like you could say Hitler, but that feels like, you know, that's not enough.
Yeah. What's going on with you? Yeah,
no, right that's the worst you can think of doing. Yeah, exactly.
That's a good question.
It's a really good question.
Yeah, because there's like I have a lot of people who I would want to throw like way more in their face.
Yeah, of course.
Damn. Oh, I've brought this up on the show before, but whatever executive at, I believe, Universal Studios told Sam Raimi that he couldn't call the movie Army of Darkness Medieval Dead. Whoever is responsible for that.
Yeah.
I'm throwing a drink in their face. That guy's probably level. Also. But knowing what like movie executives were up to in 1993 or whatever, that guy definitely deserves more than the drink. Yeah. But I don't know about any of that stuff. So probably him.
Just based on your knowledge, I think that's fair.
Confirmed. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
I was thinking of something similar, which is. Similar in a sort of abstract sense. In every other sense, it has nothing to do with what you were talking about. I was thinking of the guy who decided that like flat pack furniture should be the future. Because look, I actually think this is like a nice idea. That's why I think he only deserves a drink in the face. Or a woman, or any other type of person. Don't know anything about who this might have been.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's Ingvar Kamprad, the founder of IKEA, who was a bad guy.
I couldn't recall if there was this predated IKEA, if they just popularized this, but I was thinking of IKEA, of course.
I mean, if it's the guy who decided this should be the future.
Well, that's what I see. That's the difference to me, though. The first guy was just saying like, well, it would be cool if we just sent people furniture and it was kind of affordable, right? That's not the worst idea. But of course, he's basically like denuded all of the boreal forest of the world now. And, this is like,
and he does have also his Wikipedia page has a subheading fascist involvement.
Okay. So we got to upgrade is what you're saying. He's out of drink territory now. No, I think I did.
Oh, well, if you want to make it worse, you can throw some of that fucking coffee they serve at IKEA in his face.
Yes, dude.
Awful. Get him.
Yeah. A horse meatball.
Oh, the meatball gravy.
Yeah.
The food there, people talk about like, you can get like a whole breakfast for like $3 or something, but it's inedible. No one should have to eat that.
And I don't want to eat at IKEA.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah. I think it's mostly novelty novelty of like, what if you could, West Elm had.
I don't know. Having been in there a couple times,
I don't know.
You do see people who it seems like maybe they're here because this is a way for them to feed their family affordably, but that's not a good reason to eat there. The food is not like I've had Swedish meatballs made by, a human being with love in their heart. And it's different. Those are better.
They're pretty good. Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. What
about you? What's your answer to the question?
First of all, have you ever answered this officially in magazine?
I've never asked my own questions myself because I've never interviewed myself.
Wow.
One day.
All right.
I was thinking about it last night because I've never thought about it. I think it would be Emerald Fennell. Because I think she positions herself as someone who is fun enough to take it, but it would actually piss her off because of her like very strange ego and like lack of artistic rigor.
Really, that's a really good
like
answer,
John Waters, I feel like could like handle a drink to the face because he would like understand it as part of like he'd be mad, but he'd understand it as part of like a larger cultural experience. Right. But she claims to be like she tries to get on that gravy train and like is not able to. And I think this would like reveal her like private school tutelage severe sensitivity in a way that would make me feel good.
This is such a good answer.
That much.
Obviously a person who's asked this question many times. Yeah, so because to do it to somebody who's going to try to play it cool is a great secret burn. That's wonderful.
The best answer we ever got though was like someone was just like my dead dad, and I was like, period. I was like,
shit,
that's good.
Well,
yeah,
I don't know anything about that, but I'm sure you're right. Yeah, there's just no way that's wrong.
I was like, there's no Wikipedia I can look up, but I believe you.
That's good. I like that very much.
My
answer is that revise my question. Yeah, that guy's dead dad.
Rachel Elizabeth's dead dad.
Okay, yeah.
Rachel Elizabeth. Yeah. Guy, gender inclusive.
Yeah.
Speaking of none of this, speaking of Jude Law, remember when I spoke of Jude Law before?
Did speak of Jude Law of artificial intelligence.
I do just want to mention. Normally, this is sort of just a little treat for the people on the call, but my name here on the video chat is Gemma Chan is in Captain Marvel and Eternals. Gemma Chan in both Captain Marvel and Eternals. Nobody talking about it. Why? I do just want to mention. So she plays different people. She plays Minerva in Captain Marvel.
I haven't seen Eternals, so I can't speak to that. I don't know if she plays different people.
No one has. I haven't either.
Okay.
But she plays. She's a member of Star Force. Obviously, she's like a.
I do remember that. Yes. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. She reports to Jude Law as, say it with me, Jan Rog. And then she also
sometimes
shows
they
up
stick too close to the comics. You can make a new name. His name can be like
right.
Yeah.
Navor or something.
And then they just flipped it around 2 years later. I guess
she's playing Jan
Crazy
Rog.
Rich Asians had come out in between the castings, and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And they cast her as Cersei in the Eternals.
Huh.
Okay.
And she, of course, has been in love with Icarus for centuries and poses as a museum curator on Earth, so she's just Wonder Woman. Is that what that is?
I guess.
And I just read a spoiler for the movie The Eternals. I'm going to throw up.
Right. Do we have a second question?
Yeah, it does have a sex scene. I don't know if she's the one. Is she the one who?
Yeah, I've never seen it. Maybe I don't know. I think it's the guy from Game of Thrones and someone else.
I believe that's her.
Probably her.
Interesting.
But I think there's actually two guys from Game of Thrones in that movie. Is that possible?
Maxing out. Thrones maxing.
Yeah.
Thrones maxing.
Meaning, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Charisma minning. Yeah. Well, thank you for the question, Veronica. I have
so
actually
much.
a similar question, but I think it's relevant because of the small scale of the film. I think we can concentrate our question zone.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you're going on an Atlantic crossing, and you have to invite 3 actresses over 65 who do not appear in this film.
Okay.
You can flirt with them, but you will not be getting physical in any way. So that is to say you can invite Isabelle Huppert or like Elvira or whatever, but like you're just going to talk to them.
Terrible examples because I would be bummed to not be able to get physical. Those are like hot people.
Right, no, that was the...
Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay, yeah, so
yeah,
bummer. Okay, I got it.
So you can invite them, but it's just for the kind of,
the vibes.
Maybe. Who are you inviting? And I can provide a list of actresses over 65 that I was looking at if you want. But I can go first if you'd like.
Yeah.
Some time to think. Okay. I went through a few rounds because I knew about the question ahead of time. I told myself. I'm going Miriam Margolyes. I'm going Pam Grier.
Oh, wow.
I'm going
Grier,
Dolly Parton.
Those are really good.
I was thinking, I could pick some people who maybe have a lot of history together because that might be fun. But then I was also thinking, well, let's kind of cast the net wide because everybody's going to have stories about sort of different stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But they all seem very personable and fun chats from what I've seen on, Graham Norton or whatever. Yeah. I guess I've only seen one of them on Graham Norton. Obviously, it was Miriam Margolyes, but she's
famously kind of profane, and she does the.
Honestly,
talking about sex and telling.
I think I would have a chance.
Sure,
but you're not allowed to act on it.
But I'm not allowed.
Right?
But it would also be nice to know. Like maybe I feel like she would maybe give a wink or something like. She would, in a different context.
Once this cruise ends, anything could happen.
Oh, no. Being on the cruise also negates the chance forever, just to be clear. Because then you can't just invite somebody hot
very,
on.
Very funny to imagine otherwise the window would still be open, you're saying? I think that's fine. I'm not imagining that any of the wonderful women I'm going to invite interested in me.
Yeah.
Veronica, what do you think?
That's for me.
Who do you got?
I think I'm going to do... I think Susan Sarandon for one. Yeah, I don't know if these people are necessarily going to mesh, but they're people I'd like to talk to, and that I think could be normal for 2 weeks.
Okay. They could mesh with each other. You're not allowed to mesh with any of them, as I said.
No, I know that part. I mean, they might not want to hang out. So I'm going to go Susan Sarandon. I'm going to go Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Is she over 65?
I think she is 65.
Wow.
Damn.
And then I'm going to go. I want someone kind of weird or funny. Is Amy Sedaris a crazy pick for my comedic relief? Or
not a crazy pick.
Dreyfus is not your comedic relief? What, you need a second?
She's also exactly 65.
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. But is Julia Louis-Dreyfus? I'm not to flex. One time I was somewhere where she was, and she's very restrained socially.
Interesting.
Name drop. Okay. Like she's. I think she has no desire to do the being funny thing. But maybe it was just that night.
Wow. Didn't think I could like her more. Now I respect her.
She's from French billionaires.
Is that true?
Did you know this?
No, Amy Sedaris? Yeah. Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
Her father, Gerard Louis-Dreyfus, was a French billionaire. Amy Sedaris' father.
Her father was Mr. Affair.
She's a fifth cousin 4 times removed of Alfred Dreyfus from the Dreyfus Affair.
That's really weird. I was worried that my joke was anti-Semitic, but no, actually it's okay.
I can't think of a third person. I don't know. Who's fun? Who's on your list, Jake?
Who was on my long list?
Yeah, who's on that list you're talking about? I also don't know who's 65.
I was thinking it would be fun to have both Sarandon and Gina Davis.
I was thinking that too. Maybe I'll do that, but it feels like a cop out. But maybe I'll do that.
Okay. I was thinking about Debbie Harry is also in the running.
Good pick.
Fun to have somebody who's lived kind of a wild life, just to hear what
I think a good stories. Design.
Yeah. I was also thinking Sigourney Weaver in case we need to get something down off of a shelf.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking she'd probably be nice. You could pick kind of boring, quote unquote, boring people and just have a nice time.
Yeah, I was also thinking about an Oops All Scientologists round.
Oh yeah,
there's a couple ways to go. Mimi Rogers, Ann Archer, I think is a Scientologist, and there was a third one that I couldn't.
That would be kind of awesome, actually.
Yeah, but then how long until you can talk about it? The fourth night. Look, you guys know each other, huh?
Yeah.
Come on.
This must have been a social function or something.
I'm sure that you got kind of a funny story you can tell me about when the the e-meter fell apart.
Not famously
or whatever.
forthcoming about their experiences, I think is the idea. But
yeah.
Maybe.
Where's Shelley? Come on, just between us girls. Where's Shelley?
This is boat talk. Yeah, this is boat talk.
Hold on. Shelley Miscavige is 65. We can invite her, and then we'll find out where she is.
An actor? Wasn't that one of your stipulations?
I'm sure she's been in something. I feel confident.
She's been in documentaries about where she is.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
Well,
I wanted desperately for Thelma Schoonmaker to have made a cameo in a Scorsese movie so that I could have her, pick. But she actually has not.
That would be so good too.
But if we're including DVD special features, then she's definitely a shoo-in. Ian, what about you? What do you think?
I'm trying to think. Pam Grier is such a good pick to me because look, I'm going to be honest. I am afraid that actors sometimes, in theory, live interesting lives, but then they've also just been doing a lot of sort of self-interested acting preparation and press, which is not the type of talk that I would say I'm generally excited to hear. But I was thinking about older Italian actresses who are probably very racist. And I imagine they would be fun to have on a cruise. They would probably have all sorts of wonderful gowns that they could wear and stuff. So like a Sophia Loren, who I think is still alive. Is that correct? Can you confirm that?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something along these lines. And yeah, I don't know. What else? How old is Maggie Cheung? Excuse me very much.
Maggie Cheung is... not quite there.
Oof,
she's 61.
Tough. Okay. All right.
Basically an infant.
Yeah. Relative to them. Who else? Who are the greats? I'm trying to think of like European leads who appeared in like 70s films who are still alive, who I'm sure have like real stories about, you
could have Catherine Deneuve on and ask her about Islam.
I think we maxed out the European and ask her about count. It's got to be one, Islam. I think. Yeah. That's it.
Ian's always wanted to do this too.
No, this is too many. I want to
go on the controversial discussion cruise.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably have that. It's probably
like Emma Thompson seems like she's cool, probably, right?
Yeah, Emma Thompson is probably cool.
Seems like she's lovely and would talk about her like great nephews or something. Or Kenneth Branagh.
Talk shit about Kenneth.
The thing is, I don't necessarily want to pick their brains about like who is the greatest person you ever acted across or something.
You're not picking them for their brains. Typical.
Right.
Cool. Nice.
Great. You've got me in trouble. Yeah. Can you help me out here, Veronica? Who else?
I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you though, because I don't want to be talking in like a fun, positive way. I want to be talking shit or for them to be being kind of like weird at dinner.
Yeah. That's why I think,
like I think you can't pick people or just pick a boring person who's just going to be like normal and talk normally and pretend like it's not happening, because I think if you're going to be like, they seem so nice, that's going to suck.
Yeah, then I could have brought one of my personal friends on the cruise. What's the advantage? Yeah.
Exactly. I take my mom.
Well, you're personal friends with Imelda Staunton, so sort of cheating.
That is right.
Let's see. Looking here.
I need one more. Now, I don't know her. I don't know her politics. Sonia Braga, is she over 65?
Sonia Braga is she's definitely allowed. I was going to say this is maybe more of a Veronica suggestion, but you know who's 70 years old? April Margera.
Oh,
April Margera would be so. That would be so crazy.
In a number of films.
I would like to keep. Yeah, I'd like to keep Susan Sarandon and then do April Margera and then Gina Davis.
Okay. Yeah. Really good picks. Yeah.
That would be.
Oh my god! You guys were in that movie.
So lit. Yeah, she realizes that on the last day of the cruise too.
She's like, She's like,
as you guys are getting off, she's like. It's something. It's this.
I think they're in the movies.
Yeah.
Did you guys die? Do you guys think you died or what? Because you don't see. And
no, I'd like to send her on a cruise, like her own cruise. I don't want to burden her with my company. She seems like
April Margera?
She seems like had it rough. She should be able to take a cruise wherever she wants.
She needs to kick back.
Yeah.
She'd be worried about the cruise, the boat maybe falling into a pit dug in the lawn or something.
Just based on her past experiences.
Yeah. You guys whenever I get invited to stuff.
Excuse me, the captain. Make sure it's not like a fake wheel that somebody's put in your car. And there's like a second wheel. Somebody's driving behind the car or something. Yeah.
There's a buffet. Yeah. Of what? Poop? Freaking poop buffet.
Yeah.
Nah. All right. Well, thank you so much for answering my question.
You're very welcome.
Enough time, I think.
That was a great question.
Thank you. Let's talk about Let Them All Talk.
Yeah.
Let's, imagine it's 1999 and we've all cracked open some commemorative Phantom Menace Pepsis and we're letting them all talk.
Okay.
I found this. You could have gotten this. You could have had this for real. You could have had a Darth Maul Pepsi.
Wow.
Yeah, we're talking about this film directed by Steven Soderbergh, written sort of by Deborah Eisenberg, novel or a short story writer, who sketched out a kind of an outline on which the actors in the film improvised their dialogue, so I believe the title is sort of an instruction to the director, so he doesn't forget what to do.
Okay.
This was released December 20th, 2020. We're in the Pando now.
Yeah.
We've hit Pando time. And you guys remember?
A cheeky
what is
Pando.
that?
I remember a cheeky
remember
pandemic.
Yeah, when everybody got COVID.
Yeah, I think that's now. That's from now until the human race is exhausted.
We
correct,
stay getting COVID.
Yeah. And then there will still be that tiger at the Brooklyn Zoo who still has it after all the people are dead or whatever. But he'll break out.
As our representative of them on the show, I would like to ask our guest, what do you know about Steven Soderbergh? What's your relationship with the man? What have you seen this film? What'd you think about the film?
My relationship with Steven is I've seen I would say his greatest hits.
Big tickets.
Few extra.
Sure.
Like I've seen The Oceans.
What are we talking? Okay.
I've seen The Magic Mikes.
Okay.
I've seen, as of late, Presence, which I didn't love. And yeah, I've seen some others scattered here and there. But I watched Let Them All Talk about 2 years ago for the first time, and I thought it was fine. And then on my second watch 2 days ago, I thought it was really good. I liked it so much more than I remembered.
My friend, I also thought it was really good. So I think this is the most hype I've felt about this guy in maybe a couple months.
I think
since the informant.
Jake, your turn.
Yeah, go.
I thought it was incredible. I thought it was formally interesting. I thought the performances were great. I thought it was bold in what it was doing and what it was trying to do. I really was impressed.
I think this is as human as he's been, as interested in human lives as he's been in quite a while.
Oh yeah.
And this is maybe one of the most the best uses of his extremely quick and cheap and dirty way of doing things to get a movie about actresses over 70 talking about whatever they want to getting that to be made. It's interesting you said that you've seen the Oceans films, because I would argue this is one of them.
This is maybe his most Oceans film of all.
This is an ocean forward
There is a
film.
casino.
You're
there
so
is a
right
casino.
about that. And
there are people sneaking
you're making
around.
a great classic joke, but also just
Thank
visually, you. There's some sort of heist elements here, and I don't know. I think this is not so crazy.
Yeah.
But look,
exactly.
To get to what you're saying, I think this is explicit formalism, very noticeable formalism, and yet it's in service of a film that is mostly an old school talky relationship film, and he also lets that breathe, which also feels like kind of a revelation for him. Even the films of his that I love, it's been a long time since he's been this interested in like you're saying, Jake, just having humans patiently represented in kind of sometimes undramatic, unflashy ways, and just kind of moving on. Doesn't always have to be kind of a show or a magic trick or anything like this. So
right,
it's just wonderful.
He's doing his he's back on his kind of almost documentary style B-roll shit.
Yeah,
that he
the classic Bubble stuff.
Bubble, Girlfriend Experience, a little bit of the Nick as well. But you could tell he was just wandering around this ship and thought, I'm gonna can I film you guys plating real quick? In extreme narrow focus, or what do you call short focus?
Yeah.
Depth, shallow.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And that's ironic given both.
Yeah.
So
should we talk about how this film was made? I mean, it is interesting production that also doesn't become kind of self-conscious and show-offy. I think it is entirely narratively functional, the way that it's made. Very beautiful.
I mean, how did this freaking thing get made, right? Remember from that other podcast?
Mm-hmm.
So the way this happened was, as we mentioned, Steven and Meryl Streep had just worked together on The Laundromat, a film that is as lousy as our episode on it is good, I would say. Go check that out if you haven't. Yep. And they worked together. They really liked each other. They really liked working together. And they said, we got to do another thing, which I'm sure happens all the time in Hollywood, except if you're Steven Soderbergh, he's starting a new movie tomorrow. So you could just you could come back.
Yeah.
But he threw this thing together. Apparently he'd been thinking about this general idea for a while of an author inviting some old friends on boat trip with and it turns out they haven't talked to each other in a very long time, and sort of the ambivalence about opening old wounds or whatever. Meryl was interested. Soderbergh brings in Deborah Eisenberg, who is a celebrated short story writer. She has received a Guggenheim Fellowship and a MacArthur Genius Grant. Nice work if you can get it.
Sure is.
She is the long time partner companion of Wallace Shawn. She is, in fact, mentioned several times in the film My Dinner with Andre. First of all, I should fucking hope My Dinner's with Andre. Jesus Christ. Some of these prices at the restaurant. But she is mentioned as Debbie.
Yeah, and I think it's semi-ironic, but from what I recall, it's a wonderful mention where the semi-self-aware playwright Wallace Shawn is saying something about how hard his work is as a serious artist, and then he says something like, "Well, of course Debbie has to work at a restaurant to pay the rent, but I'm busy." And the idea of I hope this not being the case real life.
Right.
Yeah,
and we should say, like Wallace Shawn, who's been cool on Palestine and many other causes for a long time.
Famous socialist, famous, yeah.
She's quite chill herself. She spearheaded a movement against PEN America's decision to give a Freedom of Expression Courage Award to Charlie Hebdo, basically saying just because they got there was a very bad terrorist attack on them doesn't mean they weren't being very Islamophobic.
Right.
So, and that's 2015. So shout out to Deborah Eisenberg.
Huge
but she kind of she drafts up what I understand to be a sort of 50-page treatment and character biographies and things like this. And then the performers themselves sort of came up with the dialogue on the fly, with Eisenberg also on the ship with them, and there was an active collaboration process.
This could have been a disaster. This is the recipe for something that's unwatchable. But
it's remarkable how not annoying it is.
It is
the way that it's designed. It just seems
yeah.
designed to just drive you insane when you're watching it, and just be like, this is so self-important and insane, and it's an insane thing to sign up for and think you can do, but it just doesn't turn out that way, which is crazy.
I was all ready to come in here. I'm a documented kind of Meryl skeptic.
You are.
I actually like her quite a bit when she's being subdued like this.
Yeah.
She's good. I'm not stupid. Mm-hmm. Well, about this, but she can just go so big and silly, and I don't care for it.
See the Laundromat, for example. I mean, also speaking of a recipe for disaster, this film is so good that it seems impossible that the same person made the Laundromat. This is I guess it's kind of eye-opening about the assumptions we make. I felt chastened watching this movie because sort of you know what? It is very easy to misjudge people because sometimes you just make a absolute stinking pile of shit, basically, and then
sometimes
you're gonna swing. You take a lot of swings. Some of them are going to be misses, and some of them are going to be
some of them are going to swing around and hit everybody in the audience in the face.
But I was all ready to come on here and be like, I mean, Meryl doesn't seem like she can write. Meryl doesn't seem like an intellectual to me. She seems like she would never just stop talking about herself long enough to write a book. This is what I was ready to come in here and say. And then she says in this interview with Entertainment Weekly, which is quite good, it's sort of a roundtable with the three leads.
Great interview. It really kind of captures some of the spirit of the film, this interview.
Yeah. And she says explicitly that she is not an intellectual. And she says people like that sort of intimidate me. So it's great fun to imagine what it'd be like to have those standards of thought and those aspirations and to have a poetic soul.
Can you read the next couple lines? Because I also think they're interesting and kind of relevant.
Yes, which I think she did. And the selfishness of real, true artists, people that don't have kids and concerns that pull them into the real world, people that have been able to just live in the sort of miasma of their own imagination and anxieties and terrors. That's her. She's talking about the character. And at this particular moment of her life, especially so, her regrets and her desires to figure things out, it's stuff you can relate to after 70, certainly, if you're lucky enough to get there. So I am actually sorry. Meryl,
take it back. That's good.
Was unfamiliar with your game, I guess.
Yeah.
When you're not doing Florence Foster Jenkins, or whatever. Which honestly seems fun if you're her. I just don't want to watch it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think the kind of quiet or maybe understated, like what's the word, radical quality of this film is just that there's 3 women over 70 talking, like it's very explicitly about their concerns because they're the ones making up the dialogue.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it, but as a point of comparison, I watched another film starring Candice Bergen and a number of other older grand dames of American cinema, of course, Book Club.
Yes.
And I noticed some different approaches to the depiction of,
I'm interested in
women of this particular age.
Different approaches.
And so to have a male auteur be like, hey, I'm going to just like do the cinematography stuff that I do to movies about Sasha Grey or whatever. I'm going to do that to your concerns. And I think that is, that's a rare thing and to be applauded. But should we do a little plot summary? It's a fairly simple story.
I think a brief plot summary, but it would almost be a disservice to make it seem too plot heavy. Kelvin Grant style, plot driven, as they say.
Yeah. Plots are cool though.
Yeah, plots are cool. So very briefly, you already mentioned Meryl Streep is an award-winning sort of serious New York author who speaks with like a almost British accent sometimes and takes a lot of pauses when she's speaking, talks about old
real New Yorker ass,
Welsh.
New Yorker magazine ass.
Very much, which also, there's some self-awareness. I think Deborah Eisenberg also kind of a New Yorker type of a writer. And she has received this award, and she's at a point in her career where like her agents or her publishing company are kind of pushing her to do a sequel that will maybe be more commercially successful. But she gets an award that she considers even superior to the Pulitzer because it's not given every year. And it's been given in the United Kingdom. So she would have liked to attend, but she doesn't fly, she says. And then her...
Like John Madden.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yep. I'm imagining what is her character's name? Alice Higgins? What is it?
Alice New York.
Yes.
That's what it says on the title card.
This guy was confused by some of the title cards. So she talks to her agent, Gemma Chan, and suggests that she take the Queen Mary 2, the Atlantic crossing ship, and bring a couple friends. So, as you said, she brings along Candice Bergen and Diane.
Well, she
Wiest.
actually says, "I'll do it if I can invite some people."
You're right.
This is kind of part of her, her negotiation.
Yes,
because she's got like this. I don't know what the exact comparison is, but she's an author who had like a huge hit novel that was a smash critical success and turned into a movie and a miniseries, and everybody loves it. And it's kind of like an albatross around her neck. And the publisher, she wants to write what she wants to write, but the publisher is like,
would you? And look, this is some of the subtlety of the film. It's not like, incredibly secret, but all of this, along with many of the like personal relationship problems, unfold with very little exposition, which I really, really appreciate, right? Nobody is saying like, hey, remember your famous book that you wrote that became so popular? Instead, they're saying like, oh, I read the famous one, and she kind of makes a face like, did you read any of the other ones? Right. It's clear from context if you're paying attention as adults should do a film. Like, okay, I get it. I get what's going on here. Anyway, she also brings along her nephew, Tyler, Lucas Hedges. Who I also think is great in the movie. And
so good.
That's Honey Boy from Honey Boy.
That's right.
That's right, Kimmy.
That's so good.
Honey Boy fan,
Manchester by the Sea, and this type of a guy. We know this guy. And so he's really
Chester by the Sea.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah,
he's like sort of a boy.
He's a boy, Chester by the Sea.
He's by the sea again.
He's extremely by the sea. He is like a fawning nephew / assistant / like excited to be doing something real. We can talk about kind of the little character details that come out, but basically the course of the film is these people are on a ship. Even though they're old friends, they've totally lost touch and they've led different lives. Candice Bergen sells lingerie and is degraded as a service worker in Dallas. Diane Wiest's character is an activist fighting for women like incarcerated because of responding to domestic violence situations, Kaba style.
With violence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. She has one of her early lines is so good. She's talking to her adult son about some problem he's having, and she says, "It makes me feel violent easily." And like she came up with that.
Yeah.
So
so they're on this ship together, and it's kind of like an abortive reunion because they're not that forthcoming, and Meryl Streep's character says she has to work all the time, so they're not even in contact that much. And Roberta, the Candice Bergen character, it's revealed that obviously financially her life has been very hard. And then one of the big plot details that comes out is that like the famous book seems to have been drawn from her life.
You always, you never.
Exactly. So seems to have been like stolen from kind of a complex marriage that she had. And then she didn't get any recognition for it. And then obviously her life has been just quite difficult.
It seems like the release of the book was also like
caused the dissolution of her marriage, maybe.
Marriage, yeah.
So she really wants to confront Alice and like maybe get some type of compensation, whatever it is. So she spends the entire trip just kind of like planning this confrontation. And then there's some mysterious elements. There's a man who maybe is going to sleep with Alice in the evenings that we don't really understand what's happening.
Right.
And Tyler has fallen head over heels for the agent who has also snuck on the ship because she wants to kind of like follow up on and push Alice to go with the sequel to the famous book. So, you know, she's kind of recruited Tyler. She's kind of seduced him, maybe unintentionally, into being an operator for her. And
he is.
Go ahead.
Sorry, finish the plot.
No. I mean, then I think the only other key character, unless I'm forgetting somebody, is Kelvin Kranz, this kind of like Dean Koontz style or Stephen King style thriller writer.
I was thinking of Grisham.
Yeah, definitely.
Michael Connolly. Although this guy is so much better looking than Michael. Have you guys seen pictures of Michael Connolly?
Yeah, I've seen him. He looks like, on film.
Oh yeah! Oh right. He's in Justified or something.
Castle, yeah.
Castle. Excuse me. Yeah,
you're very excused. So he first of all, Al sort of condescends to this paperback pusher or whatever, right? This guy who makes like 3 novels a year or something. But her friends obviously are more interested in his books, and he's extremely popular. And then kind of in a fun twist, when they finally meet him, he's like very down to earth and charming, has clearly like read Alice's novels and admires them, and doesn't act like intimidated, just kind of talks to her as a colleague, but also somebody whose work he really respects. And he is kind of like an angel in terms of like giving advice to everybody, and just kind of floats around, and it's just a cool
sort of representing like I don't know, a kind of self-actualization or something.
Yeah,
but like just by
self-consciousness that's turned into like personal evolution instead of like navel gazing or something. Yeah,
it's all the only type of gazing they do.
Yeah, they're on a ship.
On a
Pretty
ship.
good, man. That's good. And look, we can talk about how it all wraps up. You should watch the film. Some light spoilers eventually, and quite suddenly, after there's been some confrontations and people finally had a chance to talk, and they arrive in the UK. Alice dies, and it's revealed that she had deep vein thrombosis. The guy was her doctor, not like her secret lover. Yeah, that's true. That's an interesting point. I like that a lot. I like that.
There's no denial. Really, it seems very unlikely. It would not be. I think
he's also just like a very handsome and like elegant guy. Sort of like, I mean, it's just he's just
I was watching her swim.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. We'll talk about that too. But so then there's kind of a coda to the film where like Roberta's trying to leverage some type of benefit from all this stuff that's happened to her and figure out if she can get a deal. Diane Wheat's character is hanging out with Kelvin Kranz because she's giving him ideas for murders, and they're
in love. I think it's pretty clear that they're in love.
They are in love, but also like they've made this connection, and he's extremely generous and like insisting that she get paid more than he does.
But she also has a lot of stories of murders that she knows about.
Right. Yep. And then Tyler inherits this like big brownstone, this sort of whatever artist's house in New York.
And I think his arc throughout this, he's doing a very self-conscious I mean, this is one of the I think best depictions of our particular strain of millennial young man.
I agree.
I was sort of blown away by the fact that that this was.
There's
even down to the fit of his hat.
Definitely, yeah. The like daily shots of his little morning outfits as he walks to it. I mean, the like slightly juvenile millennial clothes. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we covered the big stuff. Veronica, is there anything you want to jump into here? I mean, I think there's a lot to discuss.
I know. One of the things that I think was most interesting to me that like threaded through both the actual plot and the design of the film on this cruise ship, because they shot it in 2 weeks, I think, on like an actual crossing. And one of the things that struck me is there's this weird kind of like desire for complete control that can show up, but then there's also a total lack of control. And I think about like the way they shot this, they have like this entire ship and they can design it exactly how they want to in these very like tidy constraints, but they also can't change the set at all. Like it's it is what it is. And like, I think that reflects in the way Alice exists is like, I have to have this routine and this will like allow me to create this manuscript that like fixes my life and maybe my relationship. But then like she actually doing so completely derails everything for her and makes her so distant from things. And I thought that was interesting. But I also think one of the things that struck me when you were talking, Jake, about playing her as like this specific type of really like rigorous novelist, especially like an aging novelist, is the other writer character I think of when I think of Meryl Streep is Susan Orlean, who's like a complete opposite of this, where she's like,
of her as well.
I do this so I can like go out and like adventure, and this seems like a way for Alice to kind of like climb in. And I think we tell ourselves a lot of stories about creatives and artists that can be both necessary to the artist and completely insane to the people outside of it. And I liked that this movie sits with this really well without like hammering it on the head or being like, artists be crazy, and that's like the end of the thought, but like kind of shows these like these weird reverbs, especially when someone becomes a successful artist, that it makes people around them act crazy because it is a crazy thing to happen.
I mean, Susan Orlean, I do want to just say sister podcaster, sure.
Sister podcaster. Shout out Susan.
Shout out to Susan. She's welcome anytime. She knows. I was thinking about that as well. Sorry, Ian. And I think what you pointed out about the sort of formal tie-in with the sort of themes of the film is particularly interesting in light of this. I should have sent you this interview, Veronica. I'm sorry, I forgot. But they talk about like when she's having breakfast with Lucas Hedges, they were eating their breakfast. That was like the actor's breakfast.
There was at least
so nuts. That's so nuts. Yeah.
At least one scene where Lucas was like visibly sleepy. He looks like your friend at the sleepover. His eyes are kind of swollen and his hair's, mussed, and it doesn't feel put on at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's like, and they all talk about how they felt they were like very invigorated by this work, but also like intimidated by the fact of trying to think about what they were going to do the next day. Mm-hmm. Like they're exhausted from working, and then they are also like sort of coming up with this play as they're doing it, which is as you said, is like fascinating to think about in the context of this like controlling this person whose whole career is like I get to decide when my acts of expression are like ready for other people to consume them, when my manuscript is done.
Yeah, and taking control of other people's lives in service of my art is obviously a big thing in the film.
Right.
I think it's a great point, Veronica, and in that interview that you've been talking about, they mentioned that like there was no lighting equipment, so that it's primarily just sound equipment and Steven Soderbergh in a wheelchair being wheeled around.
This is a thing he's been doing for a few films now.
I read the wheelchair thing. That is crazy.
This is
he's been doing it since the Nick. Yeah, because
he discovered a secret.
This was the first like film shot on the red Komodo dragon camera, which they finished like 48 hours before he was starting to shoot it. Much like he had an early like RE camera on Che that they also finished like a day before they started shooting it. So he has a brand new digital camera.
I mean, it's incredible. I think it is his digital style, but it's kind of like reintroduced some of the, I don't know how much this is post-processing, but like some of the blurriness and like loses some of the sterility, I think, that he's had in some of the other films. So yeah, I mean, just to finish my point, the fact of being in the ocean also, you're talking, Veronica, about the sense that like this isn't the sort of indulgence, the thing that can happen in this type of like 70s film or something where it feels like they're elevating the artist's life or like the considerate person's life above the life of, the average Joe or something. But by virtue of, first of all, just these like massive horizon shots that they keep throwing in there, which I think are just like stunning to look at, but also very underlining of the idea that like these people are like nothing. These are like little ants, sort of. At least to me, that's like this sense, reaffirming the sense that this is like extremely ephemeral. These people's lives are ultimately small, even if they feel big to them. And then mixing in what you were talking about, Jake, with this B-roll of people doing the laundry on the ship and plating the food. And you could call that like kind of self-consciously whatever, like a class aware or something. But I think it just kind of works for me because it does pull you back out of the like, we're in these people's lives and these people's lives matter. It just sort of like regrounds you and saying like, well, they do matter, but in a much wider context or like, representative of all people's desires to a certain degree.
One of them is in particular an ant.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think even the moment where Meryl's character wanders into the crew section of the ship.
Yeah.
To do her little, I'm a writer. I'm always observing. I'm allowed to
annoying.
I'm allowed to look at anything because my perception is privileged. I have a special one. And then the
stern German
the crew lady, the stern crew lady comes over and
yeah.
says, "You're not allowed to be here. I can take you anywhere you want to go." But like the kind of
then like the material fact, she says like you're not insured if something happens to you. I mean, this is where the dialogue like really rose above just like function to me. I mean, that is what somebody would say like, "Hey, it's kind of like managing entitled customers, right? Saying like, look, it's not personal. We just can't have you back here." It really read to me as like actually Marriott talk or something.
You have to stay in the like decorated pretend section. Right. You have to stay in the Disneyland part. You can't come back here. You're not allowed to see the guts of this operation.
Right.
Also, Meryl's own clothes. Everyone was basically wearing their own clothes.
Those are Meryl's own clothes.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
with the exception of the jewelry. Yeah.
Yeah, she's always dressed like a.
She keeps the shawl on. Yeah.
Cuttlefish or something. Yeah, she looks like one of those underwater animals where you can't tell what part of it is what. Yeah. It's all this sort of like waving.
Well, talking real close, and you already invoked this, Jake, but I am curious, Veronica, not to make you speak for a whole gender of people, but
I would love to.
Great. Perfect. That's what your magazine's all about. The definitive.
Monolith definitive.
Speaking of which, I do actually have a question about a function of the body.
Okay. Yeah. Now this is interesting.
I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm just kidding.
I mean, yeah. What do you think about?
I'm not going to ask it.
You're a young person, but not like the age that is typically represented on film, which is just to say you're older than like 23 years old, I would say.
Yeah. I'm not like 17 and being like, whoa, I guess I will go to college.
Exactly. So do you have a feeling about film as a person who is entering maybe stages of life that you don't get to see? Are there films that you like of this? Are there elements of this film that you were sort of excited to be like, oh, that's, underrepresented or something?
Yeah, I think what I like about this film as an aging film is I haven't seen Book Club, but I would guess maybe, for what I understand, it's kind of like this thing of like, here is the definitive truth. And it's like the definitive truth for like an 85-year-old white lady who has like a pension and like health insurance. Right. And you're like, well,
your
maybe.
Your husband was like an insurance exec or something. Yeah.
I mean,
honestly, exactly. Yeah. So
honestly, I wish. Well, I'll talk about Book Club in a second.
Please. Oh, boy.
So I guess I feel like what I like as well about Let Them All Talk is I do feel like we're getting more films and TV about like 28-year-olds or 35-year-old women or whatever, or even like aging women, but it tends to be in that very like older Gen Z, younger millennial way where it's like, this exactly happened to me and so is interesting, and I'm not interested. And there's no value in story structure or formalism or anything. It's just like,
it's a 34-year-old pretending to be 25 and she's like, also pretending to be Jewish. And
they're like, is it crazy that I'm having sex in LA? And it's, oh my God, it's Rachel Sennett. Yeah. But like,
what?
You're what? But
you're jogging around which reservoir? That's insane.
That happened to me.
Wow.
But I think and what I like about this film is it is like, it's not an aging film, even though aging comes up a lot. Yeah. It feels like it's very grounded in their specific relationships to each other, the fact that they've been friends or iterations of friends for so long. And I think like the only time that it actually rang less true to me when they were talking about aging, I think also having watched it before and knowing how it ends, like that kind of like specter of like mortality that's around it was interesting, because all of these things that are supposedly mattering won't matter to her in like 2 days. And like Roberta's desperation to get like whatever $100,000 out of something is like so irrelevant by the time it's ended, but she's like so desperate because that's what she claimed mattered. And I think that is like an interesting representation of aging, not as like, oh, I get more tired on my runs, but like instead it's like I feel this thing isn't the same in a way that it's hard for me to articulate, or I like want my time back or money back for like the way I feel things have changed inside of me. And the only time I feel like that didn't really ring true was when they kind of get like Gemma Chan in on the conversation when they talk about her freezing her eggs. And I feel like, I don't think that part is bad or irrelevant, but then to me, that's the only time it felt like it's like, we're trying to do an all women feel like they're aging movie, which I didn't necessarily feel like was the point of the film.
It's the most explicit moment where she's saying,
I also
like,
felt like Gemma Chan didn't have enough to do, maybe, weirdly enough.
Her. Yeah. She went to Oxford, which is shocking to me because when she's holding the book, it looks like she doesn't know what the squiggles are in it. She's, God bless her. She's in some ways
she was good. I didn't mind her in it. I just like her characters to me feels
I agree with you. I agree that her character and also kind of drops out of the movie a tiny bit. But at the
end she just disappeared. Yeah.
In some ways that's effective to me as somebody who briefly worked in publishing, like, and had wonderful coworkers, some of whom were big on literature and were there because they loved the written word. Some of them were there because they majored in marketing, and like, that's one of the things that you can market, basically.
And it's one of the ways you can have a job in New York City that pays for an apartment in Manhattan.
And I think you could argue that like if this is a movie about the way fame or artistic success can kind of reverb and affect a bunch of circles around this central person, if it's Alice, is that if you're an assistant or a publishing agent or one of those people, you do tend to just disappear because you're not relevant to their orbit. Really.
Right.
So I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
You're a functionary, and then you think that you're going to affect the work, or you're part of the process. And sometimes, whatever. For all the Raymond Carver editors, there's just a lot of people who are just some fucking guy who's has to sign off on stuff because the institution has been built up around this. But let's talk about Book Club briefly.
Okay.
Please do.
Tell us about Book Club.
Book Club is a film from, I believe, 2018, starring some of the greats, starring Diane Keaton, Jane Fonda, Candice Bergen, and Mary Steenburgen. And they are friends who they have a book club. They're all through a series of like extremely photoshopped pictures of them from movies you've seen them in. It shows their whole lives together, and they met in college, and then they went on to get rich jobs, and they've stayed together.
Jane Fonda with Diane Keaton, very obviously like in the shape of a tank.
Yeah, I was thinking. I made the same joke. Here we are sitting on a Viet Cong anti-aircraft installment. So they have a book club, and then somebody, Jane Fonda, who's kind of the she's the one who never got married, and she's crazy, and she likes to fuck.
She's graceful, Frankie.
Wait, sorry, which one was that?
Yeah,
who is that?
Jane Fonda.
She's the one. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, she is like, we're reading this month now that it's my turn. 50 Shades of Grey, and this is sort of a catalyst for them all to confront their various relationships, personal relationships with sex and love.
This is the scene from Magic Mike XXL. You're saying kind of
it is
as a film,
yes, but not good.
Right,
and it's very obviously it's directed by a guy named Bill Holderman, which is it's one of the things I have here on my desk, and his partner, his creative partner, Erin Sims, who is an actress who is like 40, and he's probably 45 or whatever.
Or something here.
They've written it together. It's 2018 and full of jokes about like, I know how Google works. And it's just like sitcom language, sitcom shooting. It really indicates how actually incredible it is, the stuff that Nancy Meyers does, like the work Nancy Meyers does relative to this. It makes it abundantly clear that that's quite hard to do. But like the whole thing is lit within an inch of its life. They're always outside ostensibly, and it looks like they have never been outside the entire time we've been watching the movie. Their whole thing is like everyone thinks there's like a kind of interesting, Diane Keaton's character has I think the best storyline where she's her kids, Alicia Silverstone and Katie Aselton from The League, think that they think she's like decrepit and about to die, and they want her to move to Scottsdale to be closer to them, and she's Diane Keaton and doesn't need any of that. And she falls in love with Andy Garcia, who plays an airline pilot she meets. And by the way, Andy Garcia played her nephew in Godfather 3, and they make love. So it was interesting to think about Meryl Streep and Lucas Hedges in a movie together someday, where maybe they could. Anyway,
that's low-key genius, and I love your mind.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I believe. So somebody pointed that out in the IMDb trivia that they were uncle or they were aunt and nephew.
Some pervert was like, "Don't forget."
Yeah.
Yeah. But the film is like so she's Diane Keaton, and she's kind of immune to a bad script to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Candice Bergen. She plays a federal judge who has like sloppy after bumble date sex with Richard Dreyfuss in the backseat of her car.
Okay, great.
But it's like he comes out of the car with like lipstick on his head, you know? It's like it's sitcom shit, and it looks terrible. They all act like they reading 50 Shades of Grey is the first time that they've heard about like anything beyond missionary position with the lights off, which is just absurd. And the whole thing feels degrading and like a foregone conclusion and just silly. And it looks like shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like insulting to ask someone to look at this. That being said, it made $100 million on a $14 million budget. So maybe people who are of this age want that, and they don't want Let Them All Talk.
Do you think it's like when people have to take their kids to like a Disney movie, and you're like, I got to take my mom and my grandma to book club?
Sure. Like
that's the only thing they'll watch.
Sunday dinner in November or whatever. And you're like, we gotta do.
Fuck, I have nothing else to do with you guys.
I mean, I haven't seen Book Club, but it does make me sad. It reminds me of a film that I'm not even going to invoke the name of because it creates such a terrible reaction from film viewers who are a fan of this film. But there are certain films that I think tap into like genuinely underserved populations and questions that like aren't being addressed in film, in literature, whatever. And they do it in a way that to me is like so superficial that it actually ends up being, almost worse. As somebody who doesn't have to, I don't have to suffer from my issues not being represented. They could not be more represented in film, basically. Right. But to me, it's like to watch them be represented badly and cheaply. And like you're saying, I don't think it's crazy to say that women of a certain age maybe experienced a kind of like domestic servitude and a lack of interest in their physical desire or their needs, right? That is like, I would imagine something we all agree on.
Yeah.
But to put that on screen in kind of like like you're saying, a sitcom way where it's resolved cheaply and the concerns themselves are like extremely simple and monolithic, like you're saying, that to me, it just ends up feeling so much worse than just watching a film about something totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so like, to your point, Jake, about like something like as horrendous as like 50 Shades of Grey being like this, like the condescension and the presumption that even if you were an older woman who like, to Ian's point, doesn't have time to like consider her sexual and physical desires with what's required of her in the world, wouldn't know about sex or like wouldn't have thought about desires outside of what they maybe were expected to do ever is so offensive to me. It's like shocking. Yeah.
Well,
the reality is that they probably had like extremely strange experiences of like, a moment of desire, like in a car wash or something that was like probably more intense than anything I've ever experienced.
What's frustrating is that in this really badly photoshopped montage at the beginning of the film that seems to go on for about 25 minutes, it reveals that their book club, I think, started with Fear of Flying by Erica Jong. So like, which is I haven't read it, but it's like celebrated as a real book and a kind of a controversial book about female sexuality. So like, it's established within the text of the film that they have all had these conversations before, and then. I don't have a problem with obviously I don't have a problem with sitcoms. I like a formulaic sitcom, and I like a kind of arch romantic comedy with silly setup punchline dialogue, and older people deserve one of those about their concerns as well. But the dialogue sucks, and like the movie looks really bad, and so to have. I mean, I think the same thing about kids' movies a lot. Like, children deserve stuff that's made well, that's made by people who give a shit instead of the people making Sherlock Gnomes, where like one of the characters' things is that he farts.
Yeah,
Jake, I wrote that.
Farts. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, you were one of several people. You and Elton John and Bernie Taupin wrote all original songs for that. Did you know that?
Yeah, I agree though. Like, I don't care if there's a silly movie about older women having sex. I don't think it needs to be a solemn affair. But you have to like care and correctly execute in that form of the medium, and not be like, we could just make garbage because they don't have anything else. Like, that's like a crazy thing too.
And it's like.
But then the tragic part is to hear people say like, this is the first time I've seen a movie talk about this. And that just bums me out to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And if your choice is between Book Club and like Michael Haneke's Amour, obviously you're going to want to go see Book Club because you don't want to like to have a nice time at the movie theater.
Amour, but you're right. I understand what you're saying. It doesn't have to be Amour all the time. That's hard to do, especially if your life has been domestic servitude. You might not want to watch.
Yeah. And I think that's the problem when we try to do like representational, like ticking boxes of like what people want to see, because then you just kind of get this like mush that's not very well made because there's no like artistic drive behind what you were trying to do or goal, except be like, I'm going to represent older people having sex. And it's like, okay. And then what is the point?
Right.
I mean, that's I think the miracle of something like, a Killers of the Flower Moon is like, yes, there are films about Native American experiences, and obviously that is a film that's very much filtered through the experience of white people. But still, like, there is, I think, something as a white. I mean, I'm closer to a film bro than almost anybody. I would push back against that, but if somebody called me that, I would understand. I have a podcast and a mustache. To have those particular concerns not only represented in a movie, but represented in a movie that is made by one of the movie guys, I think is there's something particular about that where like now it can become a a Criterion Collection worthy topic for a film, as opposed to a film that exists as some kind of either some bargain bin shit like Book Club, or as something that you have to like rent from Vimeo, which I don't even know if you can still do anymore. So just I don't want to, suck Soderbergh's dick too much on this episode anyway. But I do think that just having like, putting that imprimatur on this story is significant. It
absolutely is a Soderbergh film, and just visually the rhythms of it, but due to the Eisenberg kind of semi-script that you're talking about, and also the actors themselves who, again, this is not to say that only improvisation is impressive. This is like the classic annoying press question, right? Like, did you come up with this line yourself or something? Even reading somebody's lines well is great. But I will say this type of thing does make me more in awe than I usually am of actors, to be able to like inhabit somebody. You're saying that this is not really who they are, and they are believable and often like kind of annoying, but also, there's a scene late in the film where Candice Bergen is kind of like having a heart to heart with Meryl Streep, and she is just kind of like hunched over on the couch in like extremely uncinematic posture and listening to Meryl Streep talk in a way that is like, it is very real that she's trying to process this, and she's finally unburdening herself. But she also seems to be she's unburdening herself, but she seems to be projecting like that she doesn't quite know even what's next, and she's kind of annoyed because her friend has become this pompous. And she drops this line of like, "I loved you when you were Al." Like that's the kind of line that, if it's written, would almost end up being annoying to me. But it comes out the spontaneous rhythms that I think Soderbergh is able to capture here, and the actors are all able to bring. I think just work fantastically well. And then,
and also just to glom onto that, I think like if this were fully scripted out, we would have heard something about Al before,
right?
But like that's the first time. Maybe
there's so many moments like that. Yeah,
maybe it's from the like, the secret biographies that Eisenberg was giving them, or maybe it's from something that got cut out, whatever. But like the fact that we're being hit with the bomb, the small bomb of like a different personality that she must have had right before she was fancy author lady. Yeah,
you could imagine this sort of like short-haired, whatever punkier version. I think it's and like I don't know if that's in the writing, if that's in the Marianne Bernard Soderbergh editing, like maybe he knew there was a soft touch moment of like, don't introduce this. But they do the same thing talking about her ex-husband Crawford, who again, nobody explains. We could just kind of gather that he was this rich older man with whom she had a kind of relationship. The fuck, I don't remember what I was going to, contrast this with Candice Bergen in Book Club has a hilarious scene where she's can't get the Spanx to go on correctly.
Girls, when that happens to you and the vibe is whatever.
Now, is that true or not? Is that's true, right? Yeah. I knew it.
And then the indignity of having to have a sex scene with Richard Dreyfuss. When Wallace Shawn shows up later in the film as another date. I wanted to ask you guys about first of all, Ian, I suspect you know the answer to this, but Veronica, do you know who Candice Bergen's father was?
No.
Okay, I think young people, and by that I mean anyone younger than me, we need to keep this knowledge alive. Ian, do you know about this?
I do know about this. Yes, this is great.
Candice Bergen's Candice Bergen's father was an extremely famous ventriloquist.
Which is it even possible? Is that to be such a thing? Is that possible?
Not
yes,
only
it is.
He was an extremely popular radio ventriloquist, and everyone at the time was like,
I don't think I knew that. That's
what the
so
fuck?
Funny.
Who cares? But he did have, he had these. His famous character was Charlie McCarthy, who was like a little kind of top hat monocle guy, like Mr. Peanut if he was a man and also a doll. But then he also had a character named Mortimer Snurd, and also there was a man crazy female character named Effie Clinker. But Charlie McCarthy was like the star. And Charlie McCarthy apparently, Candice Bergen I think has told stories about coming down to dinner as a child, and Charlie McCarthy has a seat at the table. The
insane.
I just a radio ventriloquist is
so she was a nepo baby. People thought of her as like coasting on
so funny
the fame of her father and his ventriloquist dummy.
I just can't get over his grift. Like on the radio is not. That's just doing a high voice and then your voice.
But I think he was also doing it. Like I think he was doing the
really
dummy, and she apparently went to the University of Pennsylvania with Donald Trump.
She's lived a life.
Interesting.
Yeah,
she really has.
And that comes
here
across.
She gets here they get to talk about, and it's more like
what's her manager's name in the film? Clovis. And a very
Clovis.
Young Clovis, the rare young Clovis.
And she does get to clap back, which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like their age is so much more. It's comes across so much more in the just like the breadth of their experience than in them saying like my back hurts or whatever. Like they're just they have lived many years, but they don't talk about like I'm old nearly as much as they do in book club when it's can you believe I'm old but I still want to fuck?
But they also talk about their sexual experiences in Let Them All Talk in a way that is integrated normally, I would say, again, into like the tapestry of a
Diane
life.
Wiest knowing I mean, Diane Wiest knowing the power of hearing Diane Wiest say that she had a threesome in college.
Doesn't she have the best speaking voice of all time?
She
so
really
fantastic.
does.
It's so...
She's incredible in this film as a foil to both of these people. And this is where the film gets to have like some of the cake of My Dinner with Andre, but also eat it too by bringing in a character who sits at the table later and it's like, you guys are both very annoying because you kind of sucks to talk to both of you. I mean, the moment when she's having the discussion about her life, and everybody pitches it perfectly, but she's talking about doing like survived and punished style. Like I think extremely valuable real work in the world. And her friends, one of her friends who obviously has just suffered like, menial work, and her other friend who's a famous author are just like kind of like projecting interest, trying to show they're like, wow, that must be, that's great. Yeah. They said something like, you're out there like fighting the good fight. That's awesome. And it's just some of the emptiest affirmation that you could get from your friend.
Yeah. As someone who has worked at a nonprofit that's not doing anything nearly as impactful, having people tell me like, thank you for doing the work. Like, motherfucker, I was like, most of what I do is like tape boxes together. I'm not helping anyone. And also I'm not doing it so that you can continue to maximize shareholder value.
Yeah. The affirmation sort of makes her it seem like that's why she's doing it. Like that's what everybody else is assuming. Right. I'm congratulating you because that's probably what you want or something. When I think it seems like she really cares about these women from what we can tell.
Yeah. Via, are there any analogs in the world of literature that came up for you? Did this resonate?
I was trying to think about who she's supposed to be, because I don't think she's supposed to be like a Donna Tartt. Like, I don't think she's supposed to be like a great literary mind necessarily. I thought the actual design of her novel cover was interesting.
Like an Alice Munro, I was thinking.
Maybe. I was literally thinking like an Alice Munro, or like they don't look trashy, but they also look like slightly self-important if I'm judging a book by its cover.
Definitely.
And so
no.
I don't know what that would be. Right. I was thinking about that a lot. Like,
not Joyce Carol Oates.
Not quite Joyce Carol Oates.
Because she's like...
Because she's not... I don't think she's writing anything like weird, really, or like subversive.
Right.
But she's not also... she's not like... She's not writing like romance novels either.
Yeah, she's certainly pre... She's not Danielle Steele, and she's like pre the sort of half respectable kind of relationship novelist, like a what's it, Jodi Picoult or whatever, where she's like,
I wonder if she's like,
she's not Anne Patchett or something you're saying, but it does seem like maybe higher literature. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, and certainly it's treated that way, and I think the scene where she goes into the library and is so smiling so big when she sees her own books on the shelf, and then realizes that the shelf containing what is his name?
Kelvin Krantz.
Kelvin Krantz's book is like so much bigger.
Yeah.
I do like it has like an artistic foil who's kind of like, it's just not that bad. Like, I just like do it. And I think that's a very sweet foil to her.
Definitely. And she's kind of shitty to him in a way that the film doesn't totally acknowledge. But at the moment, like, it seems like he's having a wonderful interaction with all the ladies, and he's like, kind of king dick of shitbound or whatever the phrase is. And then she's sort of like, how long does it take you to write one of your books? And she said, I didn't think that surprised me that it takes you that long. And he just kind of like, he doesn't make a big deal of it, but obviously understands the subtext of that.
She's like totally dismissive of him until he asks her a question about her book. That's mostly him saying how impressed he was. And then she loves him.
Yeah.
I
also love that we get to see that fame has changed her without having to necessarily track the arc or even know where her original iteration is. Like we can imagine she talks differently, they say, and like she's slightly bitchier to someone she thinks is like a worse writer.
Or she must.
But we don't know. It's not necessarily like, you used to always party with us. Like it's very not interested in. Right. I think for all the characters, like prescribing kind of tropey character traits on them or character arcs on them. It lets us feel like we're like watching inward on this relationship as it sits, instead of being like, we'll create this for you from scratch, as I think would be the urge in a more narrative script, probably.
Definitely.
I certainly felt like I was getting to learn about the like internal experiences of these actresses just based on knowing that they made this up, even if it's just learning how they perceive like their peers. Like if none of this has anything to do with anything Diane Wiest has ever personally done or felt.
Right.
Yeah. But like she definitely knows somebody like this, you know, if she's coming up with this in 2 weeks on a boat. I just learned that Ann Patchett's father was a LAPD captain who arrested both Charles Manson and Sirhan Sirhan.
Okay.
Whoa, okay.
He's cleaning the streets up.
One of whom did it.
Yeah.
I was going to say that Meryl Streep even says at one point as Alice that like every writer is just writing themselves, which I did feel like was slightly reflective of, or self-aware regarding how they're performing.
I wanted to ask you, what do we think to address some of the questions that the film brings up? I think, again, a risky move, but something I think the film does well, because the characters don't come off as extremely profound. They're sort of like lightly profound when they talk about stuff. But what do you think about this, you know, kind of classic artistic question of people using other people from their lives? Where do we land on this? I mean, as a reader, what do you think?
I think it's inevitable. I know Toni Morrison claimed she created everything from scratch, and that she once kind of borrowed something from a loved one she knew and immediately felt guilty. Right. But I just don't know.
She actually didn't even know about racism. She came up with that from first principles.
She made it up. It was crazy. She never left her house.
She basically got it perfect. Yeah. She
was really good. But yeah, she said she never borrowed from other people. I just don't know if that's possible. But I also think.
Do you think there's a responsibility to remix, though? I guess that's maybe my feeling.
That's a really interesting question. I never know the ethical answer to that, because I also think if you know an artist, and I know this from like, I have like my dad is a writer, and like I have friends who create things, and I have like this knee-jerk reaction if there's like a certain element that I feel like is unique to my identity. It can sometimes be more revealing to the person reading it to be like, oh, he must have been really inspired by me doing whatever. Your when in fact he might be like, okay, I didn't even know that happened.
I just remembered that's something that people can do. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, your father's most famous work, My Disappointing and Stinky Daughter, is, of course.
And then he added gay in between that the other year for the remake.
Wow.
Yeah, you found out.
Part two.
But I have another sister, so it's okay.
Oh, right.
Could be anybody.
She's rank, that one. I met her once.
You smelled her once, yeah.
I actually don't. I don't recall. I can't recall.
So I think, but I think, I guess it's hard to say like how much of a remix is it, or how much are you required to remember or not remember? Because what if we also like to read stories about the same things and people behave in similar ways. So
yeah. I mean,
it's hard. It's hard. I don't know. Like I weirdly like believe Roberta in Let Them All Talk, but I also feel like it's a disprovable feeling, which is a very strange space to sit in. Like you could never prove it because people get divorced or people have bad marriages. Or
the moment where she is explaining in that sort of, they finally have the conversation, and she basically offers Alice. She's like, I'll tell you everything that's happened to me, and you'll basically have a like slam dunk of a sequel to the book.
That's one of my favorite parts. I love that part.
And in exchange, I want like a cut.
Mm-hmm.
The fact
and then
that
Alice has what is to me the most annoying response possible, and the most annoying artist response.
Which is, oh my god, I didn't realize it was about money. I'll catch
you.
Right, it's not about love, as if a true like asshole aesthete sense of like those things can't be mixed up with each other. Like life can't involve both personal relationships and maybe material interest or something.
But we also don't. We also never learn from Alice if she was right. Like we never learn whether Roberta's totally.
I guess I was interpreting it as a tacit admission that it's at least partly true, because she never makes any attempt at denying. Because even at the dinner where they're talking about it, she says like. She sort of starts to say something to Roberta without directly addressing it, right? Saying like, well, you know, I don't know.
But and like, she says, I'll write you a check at the end of the conversation.
She does. Yeah. She does say that, but she doesn't say like, I want all of the details for my book. Like she's that part I think is sort of is painful to hear from Roberta. Like, I do have all this suffering that you can help me turn into money.
Right. Can my life amount to something, at least for my own benefit also? Can this have meant something that will make my life easier?
I also think that mystery of sort of what actually the manuscript will be, and if Roberta is correct in thinking it's about her, also sidesteps one of the most difficult things I find to do effectively, which is creating, especially writing, but creating in general in a movie almost never comes off very interestingly. Yeah. And so I feel like the unknown of the manuscript also saves us from like having to watch Alice write, which is almost never a compelling experience.
We get kind of like two representations, which I think you're right. One of them being the like, I respect Soderbergh or whoever's idea this was to have the very procedural. It's just like moving paragraphs around and deciding what to do, despite what she represents as being like, sometimes I wait a week for a word, which I'm not even saying isn't true, but right, it's sort of this like extremely indulgent representation. But then this is the part, I don't know if it totally works for me, but I don't know, I respected it in the sense of trying to put a flash of inspiration on screen in that weird little montage with the bees and the green velvet and
I like that.
Yeah, and her husband's hand or whatever it was.
Weirdly enough, I loved how they had her face shot, and that kind of like the moonlight kind of had this like glaze to her eyes, and I wanted to stay on that more than I needed to see like the bees and stuff, I would say. But I did appreciate what they were trying to do.
Nice to see.
It's just hard to do.
I was thinking the same thing. It felt like a better than average representation, while still because it's just hard to do. I agree. It just felt like
I think any artistic creation on screen, you're always like, okay, I can imagine.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I wanted to play a clip of Lucas Hedges that
Please do.
I'm curious what you guys think. Is this, Ian, first of all, is this when you think he's sleepy? And also, do we think this is really good improv or this is really bad improv? Like, is this the character or is this Lucas Hedges?
To reset up what we've been talking about, early discussion between him and his friends who we only see for one scene is maybe the closest representation I've ever had of like people in LA, or I think he's in Cleveland, or hanging out at a bar, the way that people actually talk to each other, kind of like self-consciously wanting to be arty and very clearly like woke, but not in the annoying sitcom way of like, oh, these whatever. I have not really seen Euphoria, but I'm imagining of like, you know, everybody's being gender inclusive all the time. No, they're just kind of like, they have like a different language.
Yeah, they're just interested in different things. I believe he has exactly the same number of Academy Award nominations as Candice Bergen. Also, Lucas Hedges. But anyway, this is she has a bunch of Emmys from Murphy Brown. So this is
Veronica,
the
were you about to say something as well?
I was just going to say that I felt like I know exactly who he is, the type of guy he's trying to play, and I also don't find that guy annoying and enjoy spending time with him, which is I find him like cute and endearing and like a little bit dumb, and like he wants to be emotionally engaged and like active listens but doesn't really know what's going on, and like I found it like it's really hard to do.
Definitely. He says thank you in the middle of his friend talking to him because he's like, I could just feel so much love from you for that moment.
Yeah, here's some of that active listening.
Okay.
Oh, no way. Oh my God. Whoa.
So look, I've never had to act opposite Meryl Streep without a script.
No, I'm going to defend this, man.
I think it's good.
I think it's good. That is a 24-year-old dude trying to be kind of like really present in an artistic discussion with his aunt, who is also kind of his employer, right? I think he's trying to be. I feel like this is me talking to a boss, right? Where I'm saying like, oh wow, that's really, you know,
yeah.
And I think he's kind of like this weird, like he's in this very strange performance position on the boat. And with Meryl Streep especially, where I see him as kind of, he's like this kind of like desexualized like rent boy. Like he's like there to like make sure the ladies are having a nice time, and like to dress nicely in his suit and be like, that's awesome about stuff that he doesn't know about, or maybe doesn't even care about, or doesn't understand. And so
he says,
I think he does that well.
He says he wants to care. I mean, he's like sort of aware that this is an unusual opportunity, and he's aware of his shortcomings as like a 24-year-old dude who doesn't have that much life experience.
But his only question is like, how did you guys be friends without the computer?
Which is very funny. I like that question a lot. And Diane Wiest is like, okay.
It's the same. Even though that's what she said. She's like, it's, you know, basically the same thing. Like,
which again, I'm not sure I totally agree with in terms of like whatever, like structural analysis of like, do modes of communication change people's behavior sometimes? I might say yes, but I liked that everybody in the film, basically their opinions read as it's possible for somebody to have that opinion. They're making a good argument for that opinion, or like a good representation of that opinion, even if we as the viewers understand that we're not supposed to buy in immediately, which I also think is just like a type of film that I love. I mean, thinking of like an Elaine May or something, Mikey and Nikki, we talk about all the time on the show, but a film where you're like, okay, both of these people are going through something. They're sometimes wonderful, and they're sometimes like attempting to transcend limitations of a dreary life, but also sometimes they're being like weird and shitty and annoying. And at the same time, I'm not meant to believe that this is some type of beautiful model of human relationships or something.
Right.
Jake, I mean, do you think the improv sucks?
That one moment I was like, I think on a longer Atlantic crossing, they might have wanted to take that one more time. And I just thought it was, I thought it would be.
The closing shot to me didn't work. That to me,
I was sort of like,
to me, I thought he was having, for a second, I thought he was having gender euphoria. Genuinely.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought she was having gender euphoria.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's bad. It's really sad.
I think the coda to the film and even the death, I'm not sure how I feel about it, because look, Veronica, you were saying something important, which is, I think, we're all kind of reaching the age where people we know start to have died, which is very strange. And I will say, I think as a person in your late 60s, early 70s, I can't even imagine, what percentage of people you've known in your life are no longer on the earth. So it doesn't feel dishonest in that sense of like, of course, sometimes in some ways that reaffirms this sense of like their little squabbles you're talking about, Veronica, like this, it's strange that they should even be so important when somebody can just disappear. But it did feel like the most storyline decision or something.
Right.
And kind of slapped together. I don't think the 2 weeks of that cruise would be so impactful as to send out these specific reverbs necessarily.
I did like that it's undercut by when they go to the gravesite of Bloodwind Pugh, which, by the way, terrific fake name of author.
Incredible.
The closest the film gets to like a clear joke, but also good. It's a good joke. Yeah.
Realm of the Owl. But when they get to her gravesite and they're like, well, this wasn't for us. Like,
right.
It undercuts the kind of like very plottiness of that, where they go to finish the quest or whatever. Like, I don't know what. I guess we leave instead, now.
The tender moment to me is because maybe it's just because my grandma loved to do this, but Diane Wiest takes Tyler's hand as they walk out of the graveyard, and you're like, this is more meaningful than this author that none of the three of them were that connected
I think
to.
that is what the final scene, the final moment is supposed to be. Is like she was.
I think so too.
She was kind of a fucking like a pretentious shithead and acted like she was being interviewed by Michiko Kakutani at every turn of every interaction she had.
Every line that came out of her mouth. Yeah.
But it turns out that she had pictures of me, her nephew, on her desk. And so that I am now learning that I was very important to her. And also
I think like you're implying like that she had normal desires and admiration for something as simple as just like seeing her nephew grow up.
She liked, she had, And I think also when it's revealed that Gemma Chan is on the boat and he has been conspiring with her, and then almost immediately
cut this scene.
Yeah, it cuts to like, you were doing this because you like her. Well, I mean, that makes sense.
That was a scene that captured to me of like why artistic thought can actually be useful in life, because she has like a real author's reaction to it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, well,
your motivation was that you want to give her a kiss. And then honestly, the scene where he is getting up the courage to ask Gemma Chan if he can kiss her. It is the most intense experience I've had watching something since 2020 when I saw Come and See. Like genuinely,
like funny games or something. Yeah,
because it's actually so real. It's painful. So like it actually feels.
I realized I didn't have my hands in front of my eyes, but I had made like basically a pinhole camera with my hands, so I didn't have to see all of the light from the image.
this is where Gemma Chan, I think, delivers, because I don't know. I guess maybe I'm projecting it to all of womankind, but I think there's a particular like quick thinking of like, how can I get in front of this? And then she says like, you're not going to ask me out, are you? You could tell that she's trying. She's like, what can I say to stop this from happening?
And then he does it anyway. And then her response is, oh fuck.
Oh fuck. Like, oh shit. Yeah. It's really good. Yeah.
And he also, there's no like, cause he's a sweet boy. There's no like incel explosion or whatever. He's just like bummed and it's uncomfortable. But but it's just interpersonal embarrassment, and that can be enough to be dramatically interesting.
Yeah.
You said Mikey and Nikki earlier, Ian, and I wanted to talk about a different Mikey Nicky, Mike Nichols, who
the original Mikey Nicky.
So he's obviously Soderbergh is a huge carnal knowledge fan. He talked about it a ton around the Sex Lies videotape days.
I was trying to remember when it was. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, apparently, according to this interview with the three lead actresses, he was like wearing Mike Nichols t-shirts on the set, both of The Laundromat and this. Candice Bergen was very touched because she's of course in Carnal Knowledge, and I think that film is another like it's one of those rare movies where people are talking or are interacting with each other like in friendship and romantic relationship context, and like talking past what they mean, and it's a very realistic I think depiction of the dynamics of like friendships and sexual relationships. And I think it's interesting that because that film is so constructed, and so it's a script. I mean, it was like written as a play, and to then see his way of, I don't know, maybe recapturing some of that. First is Sex Lies and Videotape, but then this pretty unusual process of having the performers come up with it themselves, I think is notable. It's funny that Diane Wiest, all three leads had worked with Mike Nichols, but she was in The Birdcage, so it's not quite the same thing.
Sure, yeah.
being in
on the
Carnal
edge.
Knowledge and Silkwood. I mean, The Birdcage is fun. It's just not, it's not the same kind of movie as those other ones. But in terms of Carnal Knowledge, in terms of My Dinner with Andre, I'm curious if there are other sort of film comparisons that came up for you guys. Veronica, I know this was your first movie, but maybe
this is my first movie, but I've heard about another one. This is this is so maybe ridiculous, but it reminded me of like a better iteration of The Big Chill.
Sure, yeah.
Weirdly enough, I think there's something about like, but like The Big Chill does all the mistakes that this doesn't, of like exposition and being like, well, I can't because I'm a people journalist, and you're like, okay, I don't know what that even means, but like the effects of the magazine on your personal life. But I prefer a movie about aging where we're like sitting in real time instead of like a movie where there's like an additive like narrative push. And I guess I appreciate that about both of those films. Yeah,
Carnal Knowledge does do the thing where everybody gets haircuts and Elmer's glue in the corner of their eyes and stuff. Although it works pretty well because of the performers involved. Ian, what came up for you? Also, do you want to talk about My Dinner with Andre, or should we just do a Patreon?
I was thinking that moments ago. Stupid guys. I want to talk about A Tale of Autumn, or Autumn Tale, I think is sometimes translated as, the Eric Rohmer film, which I really, really like. One of my faves. It is a film also about ladies, so it reminded me of this film. No, it's about largely it's about like a middle-aged woman who has one friend kind of her age and one friend who's like a young university or grad student or something, and she's like a farmer in the middle of this valley, and she kind of has her life set up, but has maybe kind of like moved on from romance. And I guess in this sense, it maybe kind of fails the Bechdel test or whatever. Like a lot of the film is about her friends trying to get her to date. But I guess it never feels to me in service of the reactionary idea of like, your life isn't complete without this. It's more like friends trying to figure out, like, is this something that you want? It seems like there are, like you're looking for companionship. But then a lot of the conversation, I think to your point, Veronica, is just like people talking to each other and trying to understand and trying to get their point across, and maybe not totally meeting in the way that friends talking don't, entirely bridge the gap, but also like, you know, they're you can tell that they're both wanting the best for the other person while also kind of being like narcissistic and only seeing their version of the interactions they're having. Yeah. And then I think the other thing that it shares is that it is a film that the setting is extremely present in every scene, which I think is significant for these talkier films because I don't know. Otherwise, not to get too high minded, but it feels like orchestral in the sense of like you could just be playing these like single notes. But to have this other thing in the background all the time just is like there's like a passive harmonizing or something, or sometimes counterpoint with what's going on. In, you know, this, yes, we see Alice as this kind of self-important, pretentious person. But then the moment when she and her nephew, or she and the guy who turns out to be her doctor, are looking out at the horizon and kind of just like enjoying each other's company in this broader context. I don't know. I think it's something that film can do that is hard to pull off in something like a book, because in a book you're reading like a single piece at a time, right? A single word, a single sentence, and a film can have layers, like passive layers that can sort of come in and out. And I think it's a special piece to be able to say like, okay, this conversation is happening, but also they're shopping at a grocery store, or they're also, you know, there's like people gambling in the background, which was stressful for me to see after our horrible Vegas experience. But like, you know, these people's stories don't exist in isolation, and the fact that they can do that without hammering it home in explicit dialogue, I think is very cool.
Yeah, you're reminding me of Margaret a little bit. The other film by the Manchester by the Sea himself,
Mr. Manchester. Yeah,
which apparently had that's a film that's sort of like impossible to see in its intended form because it never got finished.
Like,
but there's
8 years to come out or whatever it was.
Yeah, there's one scene that supposedly is what the whole film was kind of intended to be, or as one version of how the film was intended to play, where there's like the lead characters are having a conversation in a diner or something, but everyone else's dialogue is mixed way too loud, so you can't. Yep. You're like sort of picking out what the main thrust of the film is, and I think Lonergan was trying to say something about, I think, 9/11 or something, and New York City, in the way that everyone's having this personal tragedy that they think is the biggest thing in the world, alongside everyone else having their own personal tragedy. And I was thinking of that. I was thinking of obviously My Dinner with Andre because of the involvement of Eisenberg, but also the fact of just people at a dinner, like having
like a slightly more grounded person listening to somebody who is going on these kind of flights of fancy about extremely spiritual experiences, which sometimes, maybe this is just me as a viewer, sometimes are compelling. Like, so when I'm curious what you guys think, but like when Alice was talking about Bloodman Pugh, her consciousness, it being a miracle that is like reaching across space, that's the kind of thing that is not like an incredibly innovative, ground-shaking points, but it's sort of like, that is interesting to me to consider that, you know, you can meet with this forgotten Welsh poet or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, then they get to her gravesite and it shows that she lived to be like 90. And you're like, well, I don't know. What's the tragedy? But I think you're right about that, Ian, and also the way that like this film depicts people having a dinner conversation with someone who's like annoying to them or they're not entirely happy with, without saying that directly to them and without it blowing up into a big dramatic confrontation. It plays out much the way that an actual uncomfortable conversation plays out, like in this and in My Dinner with Andre, where you listen and you go, oh, wow, that must have been quite something. Or what
can you tell me more about asking kind of follow-up questions when you don't even like the thing that they're saying now.
All the actresses in that interview, they say they talk about how like this experience, they're worried this experience spoiled them for like the standard way of working, because they got to have such a hand in it, and it was so fast and engaging. And Streep also says you get very impatient with that line of dialogue that's in absolutely everything, which is, "Are you okay? It's just not good enough." It's like, damn, yeah, you're right. That isn't everything. Yeah. I wanted to mention, so they say specifically the T-shirts that Steven Soderbergh wore on the laundromat. He had a T-shirt that said, "What would Mike do?" And she points out Mike Nichols was like a mentor to him early on. Apparently, it seems like this is maybe where she first heard about Soderbergh. And then Candice Bergen says that he wore a black T-shirt that said a Mike Nichols film on it on the first day of shooting, and she was moved to see that. I'm curious what you guys think about this T-shirt that I've designed. So it's a picture of Robert De Niro, and it says, "I have Nichols, Greg. Could you Mike me?"
I like it a lot.
That's good.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
Thank you so much.
I like that.
Do we have any final thoughts as we bring this thing back into port in Southampton here, which is what we call the end of the show?
I think it's interesting that both being an artist and aging can be an excuse to get really stuck in your ways. That's just a general thought. And you can become unchangeable. And it's interesting to watch in a movie, but I don't want it to happen to me.
I mean, look, I think that's a great thing I want to dive into, not brush past. Do you find, I've had this experience of, as you get older, noticing things in yourself that are like clearly related to aging, and you would like to not be that way, but as with any psychological foibles, you're like, well, one thing is to notice, another thing is to stop myself from doing that.
Yeah, and just like that kind of use it or lose it behavior where I'm like, dang, I'm kind of behaving this way a lot, and if I do this for 50 years, I'm going to be so annoying.
Definitely.
At 78.
Yeah.
I mean, also, what's just me? That's the other thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
am I asking something impossible of myself? Yeah.
I always wonder how much of like the sort of older people things are kind of a organic consequence of getting older, and how much is an organic consequence of a particular like generational cohort getting older, and how much is acting like the people who were old when you were young. Like, specifically, do you think that if we miraculously make it to 70, are we going to remark what a nice man after meeting someone who is a nice man? Like,
I think I am already saying stuff like that.
I was just going to say, I think I did that like this week.
Yeah.
But look, I don't think this is the problem with aging, is that now it seems sensible to me, because first of all,
maybe I wouldn't have done at 16, I wouldn't have done that actually.
Yeah, no, of course.
Because first of all, now I'm just noticing that is already kind of a remarkable thing. Like I value that in and of itself, just to encounter somebody who is like being very pleasant and also interested in other people. And I think that's maybe more interesting commentary than trying to say like, well, I read the Bloodwind Pugh novel or something. Sometimes it's nice to just notice another human being.
I do kind of feel like you have to pick, or I've noticed this in older people, or just while you're aging, you have to pick between being like, I'm going to be mostly focused on me and then just like know things and share that, or I'm going to be somebody who like focuses on other people. And I guess both are valuable in their own ways. If you're an interesting expert of something, the problem is that some people select to be the center of attention and also really boring.
I mean, I think
really unkind.
You're right. This is why it was cool. I thought that you brought in the artist half of this. Is that maybe we'll talk about it more in a Patreon episode, but Andre Gregory in My Dinner with Andre, he is also having experiences where, look, I'm not the most spiritual person, but when I have been taken out of my comfort zone and forced to do something that I think is a little bit silly and maybe I don't think has any kind of like metaphysical underpinnings, it is also sometimes more valuable than me just going about my day-to-day life. And sometimes it's like, okay, you're being kind of annoying and this exercise is a little bit ridiculous and I'm not on the same page as you, but also I've been to like a cacao ceremony that was nice. And to hear people like try to reflect on their lives is something that you don't necessarily get in day-to-day existence. And so it's sort of like, well, is this fumbling and a little silly? Yes. And did the people who hosted the cacao ceremony basically apologize to me because they know I'm like an irony fucker? And they're like, I'm so sorry that you have to be here for the sincere thing. But then I wish I could tell them like, you know what? Thank you for doing this, because I actually, it's nice to be, like you're saying, around somebody who is a little bit too invested in their own spiritual awakening or something, but it can bring things out of you that, you otherwise might not have. Yeah. Not to say that Diane Wiest's existence isn't also wonderful. It's great that she is, I think, like you're saying, Veronica, like a listener, somebody who's genuinely invested in other people's lives. This is really wonderful to see. But
yeah. I mean, I agree with what you're saying about spiritual experiences, Ian, but at the same time, watching My Dinner with Andre after this and realizing that sort of acting exercises can be the kind of bullshit that Andre Gregory is talking about doing in Poland, or they can be let them all talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Made me.
Well, and that they're not, I would argue that they're not entirely disconnected, that there is some overlap.
No, they are. They're not.
Yeah.
But people getting disenchanted with the theater. And so they decide to just go like, pretend that they're having a connection beyond space and time in the woods of Poland with exclusively actors who don't speak English. That's a little silly. Where you could just you could continue to try to plumb human experience in a way that is legible to anyone else.
Yeah, I do think that's true. I think that's an important balance.
I think we've let each other talk.
The only other piece that I want to throw in was I thought it was a cool choice that a lot of the traditional dramatic confrontations are in montage with music playing in a way that kind of undermines them. Like when Alice finally talks to Gemma about her sneaking on the ship and stuff, the film was basically saying like, this isn't more important than the other stuff. And if we tried to put it in a conventional format, you would think that this is more important because this has like higher stakes, quote unquote.
I also wonder if it's clunkier to improvise in a sense, like a very boring,
that's a good
probably
big confrontation at the end is like really relevant and interesting, but that one's like, it's weird, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. There's no
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we have one more segment to close things out. This is, of course, Popcornopolis. Kimmy, what's going on here?
This is Popcornopolis, the segment where we ask our guest, do you like popcorn?
Veronica, you like popcorn?
I do like popcorn. I love popcorn.
Oh,
yeah,
what's your stack? What are you doing when you go to the theater or at home?
Go to the theater. I'm really flexible. I get better depending on the preference of who I'm with.
Wow. Classic Diane Wiest behavior.
Yeah, I know. And I'll boil over with resentment, I'm sure, by the time I'm 50. Because I don't really care either way. But if it's more than one person, if it's more than me, and we're like, I'm sharing two people, I'm getting a large. Like I'm getting that most of it down before before previews are over. I'm like locking in.
That's
great.
Funny
I wish it wasn't like that. And I need a small soda with it, or I guess
small soda. Okay,
a mall soda.
Louis mall soda.
Yeah. Let the small talk. Ian, it's funny that you say that because I enjoy popcorn with a little bit of nutritional Wiest on it.
Wow.
You're crazy.
That's really good. That's really good.
Thank you so much.
Dining on Wiest. I have an update from a listener. This is our check-in from a listener who previously wanted to share about their experiences taking GE. So big shout out to this listener.
Giving themselves GHB for fun.
That's correct.
Oh, I know someone who did that a while ago.
Ooh,
maybe it's the same guy.
Maybe this is the same. Well, I didn't say if it was a guy. It is.
Maybe it's the same person.
But
sorry to the guy I outed that I know.
No, it's
okay. A
guy. He was checking in. He wanted to share that. I mean, he has his private recipe that he uses. He makes his own popcorn at home, and he has like a little spice mix. But he wanted, I think, to ask whether anybody on the pod or the listeners have tried something that is called Oppo Pop, which is like a popcorn startup, basically, that they give you. I think the Oppo, does it come from like optimized pop? Maybe, I couldn't tell. But it has like a website that you would see for like tech weed. You know what I'm saying? Like fancy weed.
Yeah, it does look like tech weed.
Is it flavored? Is it pre-popped? What's going on?
I can't remember because he texted me about it a while ago.
So I'm looking at the website right now. You get flavor-wrapped kernel sachets.
Yeah.
Sure. This is I think just a popcorn subscription basically.
Yeah.
And they individually wrap the kernels, which doesn't make any sense.
Can't be right.
That's not. Yeah, it says individually wrapped. What the fuck?
Do you mean they're individually wrapped in flavor?
I think what this is that they Yeah. Okay. What they mean is that every kernel is basically like dipped like a Jordan almond in
That's what
the flavor.
I mean.
That makes sense. I was going to say there's no way.
Yeah, that's a lot of plastic. And then, but also
wrapping 200 kernels.
Right.
I do want to point out that their website says, we're the creators of flavor-wrapped popcorn kernels, and we're on a mission to liberate you from boring popcorn. Welcome to the popcorn revolution.
Yeah.
Very quick way to get yourself
like that
popped against the wall. But,
But look, I guess I am curious. I have not tried this. I would like to know from somebody. So write in with your experience, Oppo.
Yeah, listeners, tell us if you're an op. I also wanted to ask both of you, since this is a literary film and we talked about book club, I would love a book recommendation from each of you for.
Oh, I like this.
Shoot.
For me or the listener. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't care at all.
Let me go on my Goodreads and see what I've read lately.
Yeah, I would hope. Don't look at the bad reads.
My bad reads.
Hey,
my evil reads.
I mean, I can shout out.
Do us.
Yeah, as I think I've discussed on the show, I've been on my audiobook shit because I've been in the car a lot, and I do want to shout out
big commute.
Simon Vance reading the works of John le Carré.
Okay.
He does a bunch of different regional English accents, so like who where people are class wise. He also did Dune and maybe Dune Messiah. His voice sounded familiar because I listened to Dune Messiah as well. But he's done. He's been nominated for Audie Awards, which is like I assume I know what that means. But he's good. He's apparently done some James Bond stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah, so check out Simon Vance and also check out the George Smiley books. Obviously, that's like a pretty easy rec, but that's what I've been digging on lately.
Tinker Tailor.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go fiction. House Rules by Heather Lewis.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know
this very pervy, crazy book about horseback riders, like competitive horseback riders.
They're all pervs in my experience. Yeah.
It's by Heather Lewis, who is no longer with us, but is amazing. And then nonfiction, I'm going to go, which as you know means violence, on self-injury as art and entertainment, which is about performance art that is nasty, and Jackass. And that's by Philippa Snow, and I just read that and it was awesome.
Oh,
that sounds great. Two good recs.
You can talk to Ape about that while you guys are on the boat together.
Yeah. And she'll go, I'm not going to open this. Does something fly out of the book?
Uh-huh.
Is it the stuff that they put on money when it's stolen?
Fake book full of bees. Yeah.
The ink packet. Yeah. Ian, what are you sipping on book-wise?
Well, I'll go. First of all, I got to shout. I would be extraordinarily remiss if I didn't shout out my book club that I've been in with my good pals for 6 years now, I think.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And many of the books I've talked about on the show, we read together. I will, unfortunately not one of those books, but I'm going to call out Nightwood. Do you guys know Nightwood, the Juna Barnes?
Yeah, so good.
The kind of book that is like fairly well known, but should be much more well known.
It should be like the most famous book ever. I couldn't sleep after I read it. I was so excited. Should be like the most famous
book ever. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, in danger of becoming Andre Gregory's surrealism style annoying, and yet absolutely is not to me at all. It is like compelling surrealism, personal surrealism, which is like basically impossible to do, I think.
It's incredible. Yeah.
So I'm gonna recommend that. That's
great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, that's about going to do it for our episode here on Let Them All Talk. Veronica, what do you have to plug? Where can people find more?
You can find me on Twitter. My name is VNicky, VNICKYY. And I've never been called that in my life. Mm-hmm. My friend made my Twitter for me at 14.
The original Mike
Shout out Ali.
Wow.
And my magazine is High Femme, which you can find on Substack. I think it's HIFEMMES on Substack. Or on the actual website, which is hi-femme.com.
Nice. This is a terrific publication. One of the hosts of the show has contributed to the publication.
Yes. Well,
true fact.
Very briefly, but a number of guests on the show.
It's also got good, smart people on the
them too. Yeah. Veronica just interviewed John Early. And that's straight up a podcast celebrity.
Yeah.
In addition to a film actor and things of this nature. So it's a real place. And for some reason she comes on the show and is friends with at least my wife. So that's...
Yeah, I have a book club with Amanda too. No flex.
No flex.
Do we say her name on here? I have a book club with your wife.
No, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a wonderful time talking about Wuthering Heights, which I believe...
I was going to recommend that.
You guys...
But I know everyone's read it, but it's so good. Anyone ever heard of it?
And then you'll want to throw another drink in Emerald Fennell's face. Right?
Yes,
she sucked it up.
Second drinks for that one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
The second drink has had Emerald Fennell's face.
Just for Heathcliff. Yeah.
Talk about... Wait, what's the... Oh my God, what did I just do? Okay. Oh, sorry. I thought I closed the window. Okay, everything's fine.
Oh, scared.
This is my 9/11. No, my 9/11 was actually 9/11. Anyway, as for us, remember to subscribe, rate us, write a review. It helps us on the algorithm. If you like the show, tell a friend, tell your dad. Write a thinly disguised novel about us. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Podcastiforme. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or you're interested in co-hosting a two-person Steven Soderbergh podcast, you can email us at podcastingforme@gmail.com. All of this is at podcastingforme.com and shootingyourselfinthehead.com. Thank you to Jeremy Allison for our artwork. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our episode on No Sudden Move. But if you can't wait that long, you can sign up for our Patreon. We do an episode there every other week, and it's different other weeks. So basically once a week, if you can even imagine such a thing.
Inscrutable description of how it works.
Oh, no way. Oh my God. Whoa.
Bye.
Bye.